Hi, my name is Devansh, and I'm going to train you on machine learning. The content of this training will be different types of machine learning. I'll give you a walkthrough on Azure because we'll be using Azure Studio for machine learning. And in machine learning, I'll be covering supervised and unsupervised. It will be a very detailed step-by-step training. I'll teach you how to create a project, how to create experiments, how to load the data, connect the data with your project. I'll explain you on the different data features, how to split the data into training data and test data, get the right algorithm, how to train a model, how to score a model, evaluate a model, and finally deploy a model, right? And if the model is not very great, how to hyper tune that model and then further deploy it. Now, what is machine learning? To understand that, let's let's think of learning. When we teach a kid, let's say when we teach how to do addition, we teach the kid 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So we have a defined input and we have a defined output. So when the kid learns how to do addition, he need not to remember all the numbers. If he is put into a scenario where the input is defined and the output is defined, he will be able to give the right answer. So even if you give him 5 plus 6, he'll be able to give the answer is 11. So this is the process of learning. Now in machine learning, we definitely have to teach the machine, just like the way we are teaching kids. So there are different ways of teaching machine: supervised way, unsupervised way, and reinforced way. Right. So this entire process through which we are teaching a machine to give us a desired output is called machine learning. Now, there, as I said, there are three different ways of teaching a machine. Supervised is further divided into classification and regression way, and machine learning. And second is unsupervised, which is into clustering and dimension reduction. And third is reinforcements. Just ignore this small box. Now, what is supervised learning? As I said, in supervised learning, the input is defined, the output is defined. Let's look into the detailed. System is hacked. Okay. Okay. The supervised machine learning. We give the input with the defined output. So each data point is a labeled data point. It is associated with a category. Now, we saw in the previous slide, supervised machine learning can be of classification or can be of regression. Regression example can be the stock price. When we have to predict the stock price is a continuous number. So we predict the stock price or we forecast the particular stock price in the future on the basis of historical numbers, on the basis of how much dividend they are paying, on the basis of P ratio and various other numbers. It's a continuous number. So we go for a regression model. Now let us assume that if the numbers are not the continuous number, these are categorical numbers like 0 and 1, then we go for a classification kind of model. A great example is when we are teaching a machine and we give the input of cat and dog, the machine will be able to segregate. They will be able to assign a value to the image on the basis of certain features. The same example which I've given down here. If we give an input to a machine of apples and oranges, it will be able to segregate oranges and apples separately on the basis of the kind of features it has. Now, in unsupervised machine learning, we define the input, but we do not define the output. A great example is clustering. We give certain inputs and machine will automatically decide going through different algorithms, and then it will design clusters on certain features that it picks up. K-mean clustering is a great example of unsupervised machine learning. Third is reinforcement machine learning. The easiest way to understand is when we put a system into an environment and expect the system to learn on its own. We neither give the input, we nor define the output, right? Think of the child. Think of a child. Let's assume we have put him into a system in a drawing room, and there's a switched off TV, and he picks up a remote. He presses all the buttons of the remote, and one of the button switches on the TV. Now, when the child does it for the very first time, he did not realize which button did he press, but he will know that the button was on the top of the remote, on the bottom of the remote somewhere. So he will have slight learning. Then he will repeat the exercise, and he will find a button that switches on the TV. He will in the process he will also find out the button that switches off the TV, and then he will find out the button that takes him on Cartoon Network. So these are the rewards. So he does the action and he gets rewarded when the TV switches on. He gets a reward when TV switches off. He gets a reward when he moves on to the cartoon channel, Cartoon Network. So when he gets the right result, he learns it, he remembers it. That's when he gets a particular input. So this is called reinforced machine learning. We will not be covering this in this training session. We'll be covering the other two. Now, to do that, I will be using Azure Studio. Now, if you do not have an account on Azure Studio, which is from Microsoft, you can actually create. Just go to this link, studio.azureml.net. It will take you to this page. Key in your email ID, and it will sign up here. Key in your email ID. It will ask you for password. Create a password, and then it will take you to this page where it will ask you what kind of account do you want to create. 8-hour trial. I have taken this for this particular training, and you can go for a paid workspace if you know that you're going to use it professionally for a very long time. So now let's directly jump on to this. I have recently deleted all my projects and experiment. You see that whenever I take any action, I will get a detail here, project deleted. I just deleted that. I can close it from here. Now, if you have already created, your ML Studio account, this is a page you are on. Click on New on the bottom left, Dataset Module Project Experiment from local file. Now let's go one by one. Right on the top, on the left side, you have projects. I can create a project. This is the most important page, experiment. I will be calling it experiment canvas or just canvas. Web services, when we will be deploying our machine learning model. Dataset. This is where you see the data that you have uploaded. Train models. Right now we don't have any model. And then we have settings. Now this is a name I have given to my workspace, Devansh Chaurasiya ML workspace. Don't leave any space or it will not work. Use hyphen or number, it will work. You can give a description. My description is default for ML training, and my used is 0 right now. I can delete it, and if you make any change, let me give a space. Save will come up. Discard, save, discard it. Now let's go to the project and create a project. Let me create a project. So I will be, let's start with a supervised machine learning model. And as we saw, let me take you back. Under supervised, there are two ways of machine learning: classification and regression. So classification you can use for image classification, customer retention, fraud detection, diagnostic. Regression you can use for forecasting, predictions, and there are many ways. Okay, so let's start with classification, which is supervised machine learning model. So a new project name. So I prefer giving a name that will be self-explanatory in the future, because after a year you'll have 30, 40 ML model, and it'll be difficult for you to pick up the right one just by reading the name. So try making your project name as self-explanatory as possible. I'm going to write supervised classification model for let us do the project where we will be predicting whether if a ship sinks, the person will survive or will not survive on the basis of historical data. So let me call it sunk ship, and we'll be using data of a particular ship that sunk in the past. And description can be creating a supervised classification ML model using sunk ship dataset to predict if the traveler, I can English single L, traveler survived or not survived. Let me take you back over here. Now, in supervised, when we're going for classification model, we can actually have different kind of classification, whether a person survived or he did not survive, or if we want to predict whether our customer is happy or not happy, or whether if we are deploying this model in medical situation or in medical industry, we might want to predict whether the person will fall sick or he will not fall sick. And classification can be like there are two different types of classification. Two class classification, whether it is yes or no kind of survive not survive that we just saw, and a multi-class. Multi-class is where we have more than two types of or two categories, like a movie. Movie can be action, drama, romance, comedy, different genres of movie. Or a customer service. Let's say our customer service is not just happy and not happy, it is poor, good, and excellent, right? So we can deploy a multi-class classification model. Moving back, so once I fill this, I can click on checkbox. Description, creating a supervised classification. So it is right over here. Add asset, but right now I don't have any asset. So what I can do is I can go to experiment, but I cannot do any experiment because I don't have the data. So what I have to do is I have to go to the data set, but I don't have any data. So what I have to do is click on new on the left bottom corner. I need to add from a local file. I click on choose file, and ML training function. This is new version of an existing dataset. No, it is not. So I'm not going to check that. Provide an optional description. Complete dataset. I usually write that whether it's some sample or complete dataset. It helps me to. It helps me in the future. Once it is done, I can click on checkbox. It is uploading. Wow, now it is added. Now I can check this. I can download it. I can delete it, generate data access code, add to a project, or I can just click on OK. What I can do is I want this data to be associated to my the project that we have created. I can click on add to project. Which project? This project, this project, this project. I have only one project. So I click this and I click on tick mark. Done. So added one item to project supervised classification ML model function. I close it. uploaded dataset, previous one. Okay. Now my project is ready, my dataset is ready. I need to go to experiment. Or before I take you over there, I can actually click on this and click on this and I click on new. I click on a blank experiment. Now this is the canvas I was talking about. So here we have project. So if you see, it is just collapsed. This is project, this is data, this is web services. Sorry, project, this experiment, this is web services, this is data, and this is our settings. This is our train model. Now save data set. Let me search for this. So already here I have just one. So I need this data on my experiment canvas. So I drag this and I drop it over here. Sunkship.csv. It's a comma separated file. I can right click. I can again download it over here, or I can download by going to the data here and download. By the way, we don't require that right now. I click on visualize. So I have 14 columns and 1,309 rows. We have passenger class, survive, name, gender, age, siblings, of data. So of course, this is the entire data set. Passenger class. So as soon as I select this, you see on the right side, I have this description, statistical description. The mean of this is 2.29, median is 3, minimum is 1, max value is 3, standard deviation is this much, unique values. There are 3 unique values. Of course, there are 3 unique values because this is a classification problem that we are going to solve, and passenger class cannot be a continuous number. Passenger class 1, 2, 3, it could have been platinum or maybe diamond, gold and regular, or diamond, gold and silver. So it's 1, 2 and 3, and it tells me this is a numeric feature. Now I click on survived. Survived also, there are 2 values. Of course, 2 values because the person either lived or he did not live, like survived or not survived. And this is also a numeric feature. Now, if I click on name, you see it's a string value. It's a string feature. Sex, string feature. Age, numeric. Siblings, whether the person who was on board, whether he had siblings or not. Parents, number of parents he had along with. 1, 2, yeah, 1 parent or 2 parent. Ticket. What is the ticket number? It's a string feature. It means it has UCPC 177 So that's why it is string. Fare. How much did he pay? It's cabin number, string feature. From where did he embark? There, the unique values are 3. Now this is important. Missing value. There are 2 boxes or 2 cells where there are no values. Boat. How many boats did he take to reach to the main ship? Body, whether the body was found or not. What was the number of the body? Like body identification number. And where was he heading to? Where the passenger was heading to. Now there are string features, there are numeric features, but this is a classification problem. So we will have to convert this numeric or string feature into the categorical feature when required, just like this. Gender, we don't want in the string, we want it in the categorical features. So female and male, one will be assigned as 0, one will be assigned as 1. Okay, All right, guys, I'm going to stop here. We will be creating the actual prediction model, whether the person survived or not, in the next training session. Thank you so much. This is Devansh signing off. Bye bye.